Cadia broke before the guard did. Cadia stands. Alright class, settle down and let me tell you a story. Yes, I know the world map was revealed like weeks ago, but honestly, what exactly do you want me to do about it? Anyways, wise man once said that democracy ain't for timid men, the tree of liberty must be washed by the blood of patriots and tyrants, blah blah blah. But I say the true test of democracy is a siege. And let's see how one tries against hell's forces. But before we do, please like, share, subscribe, do the whole notification button thing to help me out with the algo. And here we go. Life in the free state of Prussia, the Iron Democracy. Iron Democracy, Trench Crusade War. Historically speaking, democracy has always been suspended in times of war or during a siege. I mean, one of the greatest criticism against Vladimir Zelensky, has been that he did not, or he suspended the last supposed elections for Ukraine. And before that, there was World War II. Elections were suspended. A lot of elections in democratic countries were suspended. So let's see how life is in the free state of Prussia. What makes this democracy ironic? Okay.
There is no throne in Prussia, no gilded palace where an emperor reclines,
None?
no ancient bloodline claiming divine right to rule.
No.
There is only the Landtag, the assembly of those who have fought, bled, and endured.
Oh, an assembly.
And even they do not rule.
Okay, so if you guys play a Mountain Blade, the Rodux was sort of the same thing, or at least historically speaking, there's always been the same thing, a land, or basically this group of nobles that supposedly votes for the next or new leader.
Not truly. The war rules. The Free State of Prussia was not founded by choice, nor by revolution. It was forged in necessity, hammered into shape by fire and steel when the Holy Roman Empire faltered, when the heretics tore open the sky, when the world turned black with smoke and death. Where other nations looked to kings and popes for salvation, Prussia looked inward to its own people and asked a single question: who will stand? And the answer was everyone. Prussia is a democracy, but not in the way others imagine. There are no idle debates, no grand speeches about the rights of man. There is only war, and war does not allow for weakness. To vote in Prussia is to decide where the next shells will fall, which city will be fortified, which factory will receive its ration of iron, which regiment will march to the front and never return. Every citizen votes. Every vote is cast with full knowledge that it may mean death,
That is amazing. I always had this fantasy that if ever I made it to Congress or the Senate, I would enact this quote-unquote fortunate son law. Fortunate Son, after the song by Creedence Clearwater Revival. It ain't me, I ain't no fortunate son. That each and every member of parliament, Congress, or Senate that votes for war must enlist. It will be their last act. That if you vote for war, if you say yes to war, you are automatically resigned from your position and you're automatically enlisted or commissioned as an officer, depending on your credentials. I'd call it the fortunate son law. That if you vote for war, that means you'll be a part of it.
It may send neighbours, friends, even family into the meat grinder of the trenches. The Landtag does not argue over wealth, for there is no wealth in Prussia. It does not bicker over borders, for
that
Prussia
is amazing.
Is whatever ground its soldiers can still hold. It does not negotiate for peace is a foreign...
So Sparta, as far as this can reach, meaning the spear,
concept, a long-dead relic of another age. Instead, it governs survival. It manages the machine that keeps Prussia from collapsing under the weight of its own suffering.
This is amazing. We are looking at an entire faction that mobilized its entire citizenry to fight.
Elections happen,
or at least to vote.
But there are no campaigns, no parties, no grand visions for the future. Representatives are chosen from the ranks of the living, from those who have proven themselves. Generals, factory overseers, war priests. These are the ones who decide the fate of the nation, because they are the ones who understand what is at stake.
Now there is something, those who understand what is at stake. Robert Heinlein's Starship Trooper, yes, the one with the movie, Do You Want to Live Forever? The whole thing has been criticized as fascist because service means citizenship, meaning only those that have served can vote. So that means you are literally leaving the fate of the nation or the fate of the entire world at the hands of those that have served. And fascism, by definition, is basically turning over control to a select group of people. And in Robert Heinlein's Starship Troopers, it was criticized as fascist because you are turning over control of the entire country or the entire world to those that have served. Service means citizenship, which means that only those that have served can vote.
The Landtag meets in war rooms, in underground bunkers, in the ruined halls of Königsberg, where the echoes of artillery fire shake the very walls. They do not rule from comfort, because there is no comfort left. Even in the smallest villages, the iron rule of democracy holds. Every settlement, no matter how shattered, no matter how close to the front, elects its war council. These councils oversee rationing, armament, defense. They issue work assignments, militia duties, burial orders. There is no escape from service. No one is exempt. The aristocracy, those who once ruled with noble titles and bloodlines, are not gone. Some still hold power, but only because they have traded their gilded coats for battle-worn armor.
There we go.
The nobility of Prussia is no longer defined by birth, but by service. A Hauptmann may still bear the name of an ancient house.
Service. Oh my god, if ever I do accept their invitation for that demo, I know what faction I'll be joining. I'm sold. Definitely sold.
Worth is measured in battles won, in troops led, in sacrifices made.
Now that
the weight
is
of lineage
nobility.
means nothing if one cannot hold the line. The war is the true ruler of Prussia, and the Landtag merely interprets its demands. Every decision is made with one purpose, to keep the machine running, to ensure that the factories burn bright, that the soldiers march, that the next generation is raised in the same unyielding mold as the last. There are no utopias in Prussia, no false promises, no dreams of peace.
Technically, it is a utopia, a war-like utopia.
Only duty, only war.
No end, only duty, only war. Oh my god! See, this is the reason why in my main system right now in Song of Ice and Fire, I chose the Night's Watch. Without actually researching their tactics or their troops, I bought the Night's Watch for the simple reason that I've read all the books, except of course the spin-off, the Hedge Knight. They were the only ones who actually did their duty. And let's not forget, Game of Thrones, the very first book, it all started with the Night's Watch. Waymar Royce, if I'm not mistaken, member of the Night's Watch when facing the Night King. Our last words were, "Dance with me then." He did his duty. And yeah, I think I'm sold with this faction. If ever I do accept, probably by next month, my schedule would open up. I'm gonna try and put up some content regarding the demo for Trench Crusade. I'm gonna try, alright?
And for now, the Iron Democracy endures. There is no childhood in Prussia. There is no time for innocence, no space for frivolity. A child is not raised in the Free State. They are forged, tempered in discipline, hardened by necessity, broken and reforged until nothing remains but duty.
Broken and reforged.
From
Only
the moment
duty.
they can walk, they are taught to march.
I'm
From the moment they can hold a tool, they are put to work. By the time they can lift a rifle, they are soldiers in...
Cadia broke before the guard did. Cadia stands.
All but name. There are no schoolyards filled with laughter, no playgrounds untouched by the shadow of war. The closest thing to education is the Kriegsschulen, the war schools where children are taught not only to read and write, but to dismantle a rifle, to map a battlefield, to understand the weight of command. Mathematics is measured in ammunition stockpiles. History is told through the tales of fallen heroes.
No geometry.
Literature is the recitation of battle hymns. By the age of 10, every child is assigned their future. Some will go to the Volkssturm, the civilian militias. Their training accelerated.
Is it same as the Volkssturm? Fire, my children!
So they may stand ready when the front lines break. Others will be placed in the factories. their hands calloused before they have even reached adulthood.
Mm.
A rare few will be chosen for the Garda Corps, the shock troops who
Garda
will be
Corps.
molded into something
Ooh.
greater, something relentless. And the unlucky, the ones too weak, too frail, too slow to keep up, they are given a second chance in the hospice regiments, units that are expected to die so that others may live. But childhood...
A bit unfair, but then again, in Sparta, when a boy is born, he would be inspected. If found to be puny or sickly, he would have been discarded. I'm not really sure. I mean, there's a reason why Sparta failed and Greece prospered and Athens prospered. But anyways,
It is not only preparation, it is proof. A child must prove their worth early. In the barracks of the Sturmjugend, the youth corps, duels are common, even expected. Scars are badges of honor. Those who cannot fight are discarded, their place given to those who can. By the time they reach 15, they are assigned their first real combat duty.
15
There is no
combat
ceremony,
duty.
no moment of transition. One day, they are children in training. The next, they are soldiers. But
Then again, I mean, and present armed forces, what, you're 19 in your first enlisted men. 19 combat duty.
it is not just the young who are molded by war. The entire nation breathes in step with the march of its armies. Every village, every town, every ruined city is fortified. Every citizen knows their role in its defense. There is no retreat. No evacuation orders will come. If the enemy
If I remember correctly, based on that map, where would you go? There is nowhere else to go. You stand your ground.
breaks through, then the people of Prussia will fight to the last breath, the last bullet, the last stone. The Volkssturm is the final defense of the homeland.
Volksdam.
Militias made up of those too old, too young, too broken for the front. Shopkeepers, factory workers, mothers who have outlived their sons. Armed with whatever weapons are available. Sometimes modern rifles, sometimes rusted swords, sometimes little more than sharpened farming tools. They do not fight because they expect to win.
Front.
They fight because there is no other option. And there is no
I
escape
mean, that
from
is the
war.
point. You are
In
fighting
every city, the burghers
against the forces of hell. What are the options here?
of air stand watch, the citizen enforcers who root out cowardice, who execute those who flee their duties. It is said that the only crime in Prussia is disobedience.
Disobedience.
That is not true. Treason is the greater crime, and treason is defined
Cowardice.
as hesitation. Because the Free State is not a land, it is a fortress. It is not a nation, it is a battlefield. And in Prussia, to live is to fight.
To fight.
The great furnaces of Königsberg burn day and night, their smoke curling into the sky like the breath of some vast, unseen beast. The clang of hammers and the hiss of molten steel are as familiar to a Prussian as the sound of marching boots. Industry
Factories.
is not simply the foundation of the Free State. It is its lifeblood, its heartbeat, the relentless rhythm that keeps the war machine grinding forward. There are no idle hands in Prussia. A child born in the Free State will not see their first battlefield until they are deemed...
No idle hands. You have to think. I wonder how corruption ferments in this kind of place. Because this whole thing, if we're looking at Warhammer 40k, is a commissar's dream. Everyone marching in step, everyone working in step. But corruption will have to ferment at a certain point.
ready, but they will know labor from the moment they can stand. They will grow up among the machines.
They will
their hands
know
blackened
labor.
with soot, their arms aching from toil, their futures dictated by the needs of the state. The factories are not just places of work, they are war zones. The foundries of Königsberg churn out tanks, rifles, ammunition, and artillery with unyielding efficiency.
I mean, the whole thing would be a matter of survival then. But then again, I wonder what they do for fun. Because if this is it, right? I mean, no man lives on bread alone. At a certain point, you need to distract yourself, or else what would be the point? Without art, what would be the point? Without wine and women and song, what would be the point of all of this?
The assembly lines stretch for miles, manned by workers who move with the precision of soldiers, their shifts measured not in hours but in exhaustion.
In exhaustion.
There is no concept of
doesn't make
day
sense.
or night here. only production quotas, only the ever-present demand for more. To fall behind is to fail. And in Prussia,
It's a factory, it's a hive world.
failure is not tolerated. There are no strikes, no protests. The workers know better. The Arbeiterkorps, the industrial overseers,
Arbeiterkorps.
ensure that every man, woman and child assigned to the
Duty.
factories meets their quotas. Those who fall behind are given a warning. Those who fail again are reassigned.
See, this whole thing I can understand. This whole thing I could actually point out that this is why I chose the Night's Watch. All of them were doing their duty regardless of intention. It was all about duty. I mean, if you guys remember from Game of Thrones, people were fighting over the throne. I fight over it because I am the king, I am the queen, I deserve better. We all deserve better. I deserve it. Me, more cowboy than you. The thing is, this I could definitely understand.
Assigned to the front, to labour camps, to tasks where their loss will not slow the war effort. Yet despite the hardship, the factories are not seen as punishment. They are duty. To work is to serve, and to serve is to fight.
In Che Guevara's guerrilla warfare, he actually provided a system where if you're going to join the guerrilla fighters or the guerrilla front, first thing to do is service. Basically, you have camps all over Cuba during the revolution. They would basically make up these work camps to basically produce rifles, fix rifles, or produce food for the guerrillas. And you basically work your way towards being an actual fighter or being an actual guerrilla. So you do have to serve first. That's his thing. He actually made being able to fight as a form of reward. And I remember he actually forwarded this concept of suicide battalions. Suicide battalions are basically, or suicide divisions, are basically a group of soldiers or a group of guerrillas that will slam against the reinforcements while the main objective is being fought over by the regular or the main units. But this is something that's actually done in real life, that through service, you will gain the reward, and reward is combat. The reward is getting to actually fight.
The workers take pride in their craft, knowing that every bullet they forge, every tank they assemble, may be the difference between victory and annihilation.
Victory and annihilation. Like I said, in Che Guevara's guerrilla warfare, these people basically, they would hang the promise of combat over these people, but these people have been made to accept that everything they do is for the war effort. I mean, that is the whole thing. This whole thing is a team effort if you think about it. I mean, soldiers need their bullets for the front line. Soldier needs their clothes. Soldier needs their equipment for the front line. And you making yourself, or buying those war bands or working in a factory is definitely part of the team effort. Even, I mean, being a bench player or being a team player is a whole part of it. Every time the ball goes through a basket or everyone goes across the goal line, that's because of a team effort. There we go.
It is an unspoken truth in Prussia that a soldier's rifle is not truly his own. It belongs to the one who built it, to the one who poured their sweat and blood into its creation. And so the cycle continues.
That's
Food
actually
is
quite
rationed
something.
just as strictly as munitions. A factory worker's meals are determined by their productivity. The more they produce, the more they receive.
No, that's communism. Isn't that communism? Can someone please put it down in the comments?
It is not cruelty, it is necessity. There is never enough to go around, and the state cannot afford to waste resources on those who do not pull their weight.
Yep, pull your weight or else.
The weak starve, the strong endure. Sabotage is an ever-present threat. The heretics and the empire alike know that the factories of Prussia are what keep the war machine moving, and so they send spies, infiltrators, traitors, hidden among the workers. The Bürgerwehr patrol the industrial zones, ever watchful, ever ready to...
Now that's dangerous. A secret police? I mean, you have the Stasi, you have the Gestapo. What was the Russia's version of it? I forgot forgot. Unit something something. There was this a whole movie about their particular unit, starring whatchamacallit, the name of that guy? Tom Hardy.
To root out treason.
Is it Tom Hardy? Hold on, I forgot. Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy. Do I even have the right person? Yep, Tom Hardy. Bane. It was based on the novel whose title I forgot, but the title was no. I forgot the name of the author, but the title was Child 44. It was about the secret Russia's secret police during the Cold War, after World War
When
II.
a saboteur is found, there is no trial, only a bullet.
Only a bullet.
And yet, even in this place of endless toil, there are moments of strange reverence. It is tradition for workers to carve the names of fallen soldiers into the metal they forge, a silent acknowledgement of the price being paid. Some believe that the
Family
spirits
members
of the dead linger in the weapons they helped create, that their hands guide the soldiers who wield them. Superstition, perhaps. But in
Probably.
Prussia, where death is ever present, even superstition has power. The war cannot be fought without steel. The war cannot be fought without sacrifice. And so, the factories never sleep, because if they do, Prussia dies. Faith in Prussia is not a matter of comfort. It is not a quiet thing, not a passive belief in a distant God who watches from above. Faith is a weapon, a hammer, a force as tangible as the rifles forged in the factories of Königsberg. It
Probably.
is wielded with purpose, honed like a blade, and pressed into the hearts of the people like a brand upon flesh. There is no division between faith and war. The two are one.
2 or 1. Okay.
The church militant is not a relic of old theology, not a mere institution
Oh my god, they have a church militant? That is awesome!
of prayers and rituals. It is a war machine.
Although the whole thing reeks of desperation in the game. What was that? What was the name of that particular game? Frostpunk, right? Frostpunk. You have that option of actually providing a faith militant or a militant church, but it reeks of desperation.
In its own right, a pillar of Prussia's survival. And those who serve it do not preach from pulpits. They fight, side by side with the soldiers,
Now that's
clad in
something.
thrice blessed armour and wielding weapons that bear the weight of
What do
scripture.
they look like?
The Feldkaplan, the
Oh.
trench clerics, are the last voices many Prussian soldiers will hear.
Oh,
They do not offer gentle reassurances or empty
no gentle
promises of
reassurance.
salvation. They prepare men for war, for sacrifice, for the certainty of death.
In the book World War Z, the one with the one that was turned into film with Brad Pitt, book was awesome, by the way, or the book was better. Russian priests or Orthodox priests, actually their job was to basically kill people, or their job was to kill those bitten. Because here's the thing, one of their conundrums, or one of their whatchamacallit, problems was suicide. Basically, soldiers or officers, they get bit during combat. Of course, they don't turn instantaneously, or it takes them some time to turn. So what these soldiers do is they basically kill themselves. So what the priests did, or what they did, or they created this whole new order that their job is kill those that are bitten. So those that are bitten don't have to suffer the sin of suicide. No
They
comfort
march into
here.
battle alongside the Garda Corps, their sensor masks belching thick, choking incense laced with chemicals meant to dull pain and sharpen the mind.
Dull pain and sharpen the
Their
mind.
swords, reforged from the remnants of cathedral bells shattered in past bombardments, are said to ring with the echoes of long-forgotten prayers. Their role is more than spiritual. They are officers, executioners, and warriors.
Commissars.
They lead when commanders fall. They steady the wavering. And when a soldier's courage falters, when doubt begins to poison the ranks, the Feldkaplan remind them that faith in Prussia is not a
Feldkaplan.
choice. It is an obligation. There is no room for doubt. Doubt is a sickness, and sickness must be
Ooh.
cut away.
Faith.
The people of Prussia do not pray for victory. They pray for endurance, for the strength to outlast the heretics, to stand against the
So, pray that you have the strength to serve. Wait, what was that saying by JFK? Ask not what your country can do for you, but wait, what was no, it was the other one. Pray for strength or something. Can someone please put it down in the comment? That JFK anecdote.
weight of a world that has long since abandoned them. Prayers are spoken not in hushed tones, but in shouted battle hymns, in the rhythmic chants of factory workers as they forge steel into weapons, in the whispered oaths of the Sturmtruppen as they prepare to charge. But faith is not merely for the battlefield. It is woven into
You have stormtroopers, you have officers, you have the Voxstrom. If I'm not mistaken, Trench Crusade is squad-based, correct? This is not an army builder.
Daily lives of the people, into every action, every breath. Before each meal, a prayer is spoken, not of thanks, but of remembrance.
Of remembrance.
A ritual acknowledgement that the food was won through suffering, that someone, somewhere, has bled, so that another might eat. Before each shift in the factories, workers place their hands upon the metal they shape, murmuring the names of the dead as if passing their strength into the steel.
That's the equivalent of beseeching the machine spirits. Interesting.
Churches still stand
The venerable
in Prussia,
dead.
though none remain untouched by war. Their stained glass windows are shattered, their stone walls cracked from artillery strikes, their bells melted down for munitions. And yet, they are never empty. Services are held in the ruins, with congregations clad in ragged uniforms, rifles slung over their backs, their prayers accompanied by the distant rumble of shellfire. But faith is not unchallenged. The war has lasted for centuries, and there are those who have seen too much, who have watched too many miracles turn to horrors, too many blessings become curses. For some, faith is a source of strength. For others, it is a wound that will not close. The broken ones, the demanden, the dimming, are those who have lost their belief but continue to fight, not out of devotion, but because there is nothing else.
They actually, the demon, then hold on. In World, Max Brooks, I remember now the name of the author, Max Brooks, World War Z. They actually, discussed the psychological effects of the war. In that Russian Orthodox priest, he actually mentioned that whole thing, that people are getting more and more desperate. And you could actually see it in some of the men, the way they fight. They fight harder and farther in a sense that they'll be more reckless and reckless. That instead of just outright committing suicide, they would basically, commit suicide through combat by being more and more reckless. So that's why they, formed the order that, if you were bitten, the priests would commit the deed for you. So they had this version of this.
They still murmur the prayers, still bow their heads in the presence of the Feldkaplan, but their eyes are empty. The war has drained them, hollowed them out. They are ghosts among the living, waiting for death to take them where faith could not. And then there are the condemned, the Valorinen, those who reject faith entirely.
So penal
It is
battalions?
a dangerous thing to turn one's back on the church militant. To speak against it is to invite suspicion, to risk exile, or worse. The war does not tolerate apostasy.
In this kind of situation or in this kind of setting, you're either with us or against us, which is, reasonable. Because then again, what is the alternative?
Those who fall too far are sent to the last rites regiments, where they are given the chance
Penal
to redeem
battalions.
themselves in the only way left, by charging into the fire and not returning. But for most, faith remains. It is not questioned, it is not debated. It is as much a part of life as war itself. And in Prussia, war is eternal. There is no safety in Prussia. There are only walls, watchmen, and weapons. Security is not a guarantee. It is a condition that must be constantly upheld, reinforced with steel, and paid for in blood. No one lives in Prussia without understanding this, without feeling the weight of survival pressing upon their shoulders like an iron yoke.
Thank you for watching, guys. So if you want me to check out other stories here on YouTube, please let me know in the comments. We upload on the weekends, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also, check out our Twitch channel where you can watch me do this live. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do the whole notification button thing to help me out with the algo, and class dismissed.